I just didn't think it would happen like this. It's so sudden.
Look, we gave it a good go, but at the end of the day, it's for the best.
Just thought we had more time.
We had 4 years to make this work.
Maybe there's some good times in those 4 years.
I can't hold on to memories anymore, Nagy. I'm getting older, and I'm just wondering, when's it going to happen for me? When is it going to be my big day?
I thought that was going to be next year.
My biological clock is ticking.
Wait, what are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
Brownie being sacked.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Oh, yeah, good.
Oh, good.
And welcome to the Joust. My name is Nagy. I'm here as always with my co-host Liam McNeil. Now, Liam, the place is bustling here at the Commonwealth Hotel. The place is just full of energy. It's on fire.
They heard we were coming, Nagy. They heard we were here.
No, there's something bigger than us, Liam.
No, there isn't. There's nothing in this world bigger than us.
I know.
We're a large man.
It could be feeling that way, but some huge news has happened tonight.
Enormous news. Unparalleled news maybe in our time podcasting.
Yes.
The whole time. This is the biggest news we've had so far.
I think it has been. And the only way to take bad news is with the Murray's 262.
Delicious Murray's 262 will keep the pain of bad news away.
Yes, it will. We can't confirm that, but it's definitely helped us in recent times because is this bad news? Is this good news, Liam? Nathan Brown has been sacked from the Newcastle Knights.
Has he been sacked though, Nagy? Do we know if it was a sacking or if it was a mutual agreement or if it was Brownie wanting to leave?
Same result.
Same result.
Yeah.
Ostensibly, yes, it's the same result, but it's all about the intent, Nagy.
Yeah.
The intent. Who made the call? Who made this decision?
Now, there was a release earlier today by the, I guess now, permanent fearless leader in the CEO of the club, whose name escapes me.
Philip Gardner.
Philip Gardner. Phil. Old Uncle Phil.
Uncle Phil.
That had a meeting that brought Brownie in to his office, which I imagine to be a huge room.
I imagine it's like a classic drawing room in one of those 90s lawyer films in New York.
Yeah, he lifted a globe and said, whiskey, and then he said, but Phil, it's 2 PM, and he says, all right, one for me then, and poured himself a whiskey.
Yeah.
Where do you get those? The Atlas?
eBay, probably.
Probably eBay these days.
You can get anything on eBay. Or Alibaba. No, Alibaba's the one people are using now.
I thought that was a kebab shop.
It's both. It can be two things.
Okay.
A thing can be two things, Nagy.
Liam, we're diverting from the point
here.
Like
the two men.
We're the two men.
We're
Liam.
the two men.
Now, Liam, Nathan Brown is no longer with the club as of the end of this year. Many people calling for his head. I know there was a few people...
listeners of the show, in fact, calling for his head.
Kelly Wilson, Anthony Ickling. There's quite a few to be named that were calling for his head on a weekly basis. Now he is actually gone. How do you feel?
I feel a bit hollow. I feel a bit empty. I'm not sure why. It feels a bit strange. Like, obviously, he's been with the club for 4 years now. He's been through arguably the toughest period in the club's and maybe any club's history, given the rebuild he had to do. And he's recruited well. He's got us to where we are now. But he seems to be underperforming with what should be a top 8 squad. I know we're still mathematically a chance, as we so poignantly discussed last week. Mathematically still a chance, but I don't know. I'm so torn on this. I don't know whether it's the right call, whether it's the wrong call. You know, why they made the decision now. Why didn't they wait till the off season? It's boggled me. It's hit me for 6.
It's like Dad's finally decided to leave. You're like, well, I guess they might be happier separate. Mum and Dad, but now he's packed the car and he's hit the road. Maybe we can still visit Brownie every other weekend.
We can have 2 Christmases.
Look, I'm sure Brownie would still like to come visit from time to time, or maybe he'll find a whole new team and make all those promises all over again. but Liam, we have to talk now that the Brown era is over.
The Brown era is over. We're no longer living in Brown Town.
No, the Brown out. It's stopped. So we must look forwards, not backwards.
Upwards, not forwards.
And turning, always
swirling.
There's who's going to replace, who's going to fill the shoes of Nathan Brown? Not the actual shoes, because he had very distinctive style of coaching, with the player recruitment.
And the wide collars.
The wide collars with the brands on the collar, like it was back in the 70s.
It wasn't a good look.
No, it wasn't. It was terrible marketing. But I see the Broncos have been doing the similar sort of thing with some lawyers on a checkered shirt.
Oh, it's terrible. terrible. It's not a good look.
Bush
But what does
lawyers,
it
maybe.
mean for the Knights now, Nagy? What does this mean for the Knights? Who is going to be the next man to take the helm of the Knights? Now, there's been a number of names thrown up around the press in the last, 4 hours?
4 minutes.
4 minutes since it happened.
Yeah.
Obviously, this will be 2 days later when you're watching the pod, but a couple of names thrown around, including but not limited to Shane Flanagan.
Let's stop you there, Liam. Shane Flanagan.
Let's stop at Shane Flanagan.
Now, this name was brought up quite recently, and very recently, and he was deregistered by the NRL
For cheating.
for cheating.
2 times.
Twice.
He got deregistered for cheating,
Cheating.
while he was banned for cheating.
Cheating, yeah.
So I'm a bit mixed on Shane Flanagan.
He seems like the kind of guy we need to shake things up. He's an interesting fellow, Shane Flanagan. A very successful coach in the later part of his career.
Absolutely.
And obviously the Sharks haven't been performing without him with the same sort of squad. He did try to sign the 2014 Blues side for quite a while there, and has most of that on the roster now under John Morris. But he said at the beginning of the year, the last we heard from Shane was, he said, "You will not be seeing me in the NRL for quite some time."
Well, I'd imagine that means Shane Flanagan's out.
Well,
I don't want to look into that statement too much, but just at a very surface level, that seems to indicate that he doesn't want to coach in the NRL for a while.
A year's a long time in NRL, Liam.
Yeah, that's a good point, though, Nagy.
Think
It's a
about
good point.
Brownie was signing an evergreen contract a year ago.
That's about a year ago now.
We were full of hope,
We were
dreams.
so full of hope.
And we still have that hope. This is such an interesting time because potentially we could have the coach that we've just sacked take us into a final series for the first time in 6 years.
Which would be it would be very precedented.
It'd be
Remember,
very
Hook,
precedented.
Hook Griffin did it last year with the Panthers, got fired after taking them to the top 4.
Yeah.
So I think, it really comes back to this performance-based contract. I think West were expecting us to romp into the top 8, and we're expecting us to get in there pretty easily, and it seems to be the case that now that it hasn't happened, they've acted on that contract, which, as we all knew what it was about. We all knew the caveats and the little bits in the contract, and it seems like Brownie just hasn't hit those KPIs, because God knows West are all about those KPIs.
Well, at the end of last season, we talked with Barry Toohey. Obviously, it wasn't the season of success that we had hoped, and we saw Mick Potter as well as the ex-Sharks recruitment person, Darren Mooney. Also was shown which way the door was and was told to use it. And so this could be the style of West's ownership that we see now, that when there's an unsuccessful season, heads must roll. And so who's that head?
The head coach.
The head coach, which has
says it right there in the title.
Name. Yeah. You'd think it was quite clear early on. We should have picked it. But I was told once before around the way that they run the West Club team. Now, this is the West Rosellas. Is that if the club fails to win the comp, the board in charge of the club, like the specific football board, not the club board, but the specific football board, gets handed over. So there's 2 concurrently always running. One has the team, and then when they fail, it hands to the other. That's the expectation of West to win.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a strange and interesting way to run things.
Well, I don't know. I spoke to this. I think it's all like voluntary roles. I think they're all paid roles, but it's still having the thing of controlling the ins and outs of the club. But also, I spoke to this person, quite drunk at a pub. But a lot
Not
of
like you, Nagy. That's a new one.
Yeah. Well, lately there's. But so it's an interesting sort of thing to see if that is the way West run, and they will not just put all this money into a club just to watch it not meet expectations.
Which I feel like is that's kind of what other NRL clubs generally do. It's just that the Knights haven't really done that before. It's kind of not been our way to demand success and then change things if it doesn't work. It's kind of our way to demand success and then kind of end up in the middle, and that's good enough.
Well, it's in the middle. Isn't good enough for a club like West, and so it's good that we're going to see a push. And look, I think in a lot of ways it's disappointing that we see the end of Brownie. But
a couple of other names have been thrown up as well. Craig Fitzgibbon, currently an assistant at the Roosters. Adam O'Brien, who I believe is also an assistant at the Roosters. Both very highly rated.
Let's just group those 2 together. I know all first grade coaches now typically come through an assistant coach sort of. Nurture, sort of like they come through.
Yeah, they get nurtured.
Nursery is the word I was looking for. But so they obviously they come through that, and at one stage they were assistant coaches. But will we see a better result from a new coach?
Well, that's what we don't know, Nagy, and I think that's the million-dollar question. What can another coach do that Brownie wasn't doing that will achieve success? I don't know the answer. I'm not a professional rugby league coach or player.
You're not?
I barely understand the game, as a matter of fact.
Barely read.
As we all know, yes. Can barely even read what I've written about the game.
Hieroglyphics. So.
But, I think maybe it's just that breath of fresh air that we need. I'm not too sure, but a change, they say, is better than a holiday sometimes. I don't know. I've had some pretty good holidays and some pretty shitty changes in my life. So I don't know if that saying holds much water, but it could well be the case.
Well, 4 years under the same coach, and I think you must have to change something to get a better result. What I think this is you look back in 2015-16, the asset was the club and the coaching and things like that, because we didn't have any players of note. Ending of that the Bennett era, all the players were we were like a colander. We were just leaking all these, anyone that was slightly good or looked like they had a bit of talent was finding another club. Now what Brownie's done is rebuilt the roster, and now the asset is in the players. So we have these players which within the rebuild itself, which will always happen with the new coach. The difference is the number 1, the number 7, and the number 8 is going to make up the untouchables of that club.
Wouldn't that be the number 9? 1, 7, and 9?
No, because this is
1, 7, and 8.
No. Well, this is Ponga, Pearce, and Clemmer.
Oh, you're talking specifically about the Knights. I thought we were talking just in generalities.
No.
Okay, gotcha.
Now, Liam, this is a Knights-focused podcast. I'll let you know.
I was under the impression this was a mug-focused podcast.
Yes, that's why we're doing it, for mugs. Now, Liam, so once we got those three, so that's the untouchables in my book. Then you've got players that you would pretty much want to guarantee they'll be re-signed soon because they've been playing pretty consistently. I reckon those players are probably Watson, Fitzgibbon, and
I think you'd argue Sione would be in that basket.
He'd be around that area. But then you got other players around that as well, like the players that have been Brownie favourites for a while. Mitch Barnett is one player that's a bit hot and cold, bit of a loose cannon.
Oh, he's a loose cannon. He's a loose one.
So I think Danny Levi's fallen out of favour recently.
Herman Esiesi falling out of favour as well.
Yeah, and maybe even like Jacob Safidi, things like this. So Dan Safidi would be another player in that core group. The rest of it can be stripped away and then rebuild around.
But do we want to go through another rebuild? We've been through 4 years of pain. Do we want to go through that experience all over again?
That's the thing, Liam.
Or do you think Brownie's done a good enough job that another coach can come in and have success?
Yeah,
do we need another rebuild?
Well, we need another coach, so I think one comes with the other. So it's going to be interesting to see who is that. I don't think an assistant coach is the way forward. There is one more name on that list, Liam.
Jeffrey Tuvey.
Yeah.
To be fair, I just did this list off the top of my head. I'm not entirely sure.
We found out about the news moments ago.
It's been a maelstrom of just text messages and tweets and Facebook posts, and it's impossible to keep up. Sam, who else was mentioned in the Fox Sports article? Do you recall?
Kevin Walters, I think.
Kevin.
Super League coach as well, Kevin Walters.
Sean Wade from the Super League was also mentioned. I believe he's won 5 comps over there, but he wants to try himself in the NRL. So he could be a handy pickup.
Tim Sheens.
Tim Sheens.
Yeah.
Oh, time for a bit of Sheenius. That's Sheens and Genius.
I picked that. It's got to be.
I'm currently working on something to do with a pair of jeans for Tim Sheens.
Tim Sheens.
Yeah.
There's something there.
It's going
to be really interesting to see which direction they go. I think they will go for someone in between that, and of course there's Hook as well. Anthony Griffin.
There is always Anthony Griffin, but do we really want Anthony Griffin?
Well, that's the thing. Do we really want...
We're hearing booing from the bleachers out there.
The thousands of people that come to watch us every week have all just decided, no, they don't want Anthony Griffin. But let's look at actual contenders. Look, we got Tuvey, Griffin, and Kevin Walters. All experienced coaches at some level. It seems like Griffin is just a very unlikable person.
It does seem to be the case. No one ever seems to get on with Anthony Griffin, let alone the players who play under him. They don't seem to care much for him.
Yeah.
But again, he fell under the same sword last year when he had Penrith in the top 4 and he got fired.
Yeah.
It's a very strange situation for Hook.
Tuvey got fired also just to see his team go back to the guy that he replaced. So look, who would want to see... firstly, we would want to see a manly coach come in, a manly player come in and coach the Knights.
Therein lies my biggest bugaboo with Jeffrey Tuvey.
Yeah.
Do we want man...
One more time. A bugaboo.
A bugaboo.
Is that a thing?
I hope so, because
Continue
I've
on.
just said it.
All right, yeah.
A bugbear, I suppose you might say.
Okay.
I get a bit of a bugbear about having a manly man in control of the Knights, you know?
Sure.
I feel like he might be coming in to undermine and get a bit of a revenge for 97.
Oh, and sabotage the club from the inside.
I think he might do that.
Okay.
I'm not basing this on anything. I don't know Mr. Tuvey personally, but seems like the kind of thing he would do.
Yeah. Well, you know, where the red meets the blue, sometimes you get a little bit of maroon.
That's a
don't
very
know.
good point.
I don't know what that means.
Well,
Thank you.
purple, maroon, it's all
maroon.
the same. Gold jacket, green jacket, who gives a shit? But, so big news, huge news.
It's huge news. Look, and in the end, it's pure speculation because we can only assume that they've made this decision before the end of the year while there's still finals hopes because they've lost, there's no more confidence in Brownie to take them to a final series next year. And so they either have someone already or they've got a lot of people in mind.
Well, that's it. One would assume that an organisation like Wes, who seem to have their shit all together, would have a contingency plan in place.
Yeah.
They're not just going to let him go without any plan in place. So I think we can rest assured knowing they've either got someone lined up, they've got someone signed, or they've got a big pool of candidates to choose from. So I don't think we need to worry too much.
No.
It's just that the calibre of coaching out there is widely sporadic.
Yeah.
You know, there's some potentially good coaches out there. There's some horrible coaches out there. I saw Garth Brennan named as a potential successor to Brownie as well today, and I don't like that. No, I don't like that.
There's been a lot of horrible suggestions made.
There's been some really bad suggestions.
And Jason Taylor as well.
That's another bad suggestion.
Terrible
A
suggestion.
Terrible suggestion that people have made.
And
But it is kind of funny seeing
Jason
on.
Taylor often looks like he's just noticed a fart in the room. That's it. That's his relaxed face. It's sort of like.
You know, I used to tell people that my middle name was Taylor growing up because I was such a fan of Jason Taylor.
Is it not?
At the North City Fair. No, it's not.
Can you reveal what it is now?
Gregor. My middle name, I'm named for my father. Middle name is Gregor, so thank you to Gregor McNeil for providing me my namesake.
Let's move forward, Liam.
Yes, all right. We've
Now,
talked enough about Brownie. We need
have-
to talk about something that Brownie was responsible for and that Brownie did for this city.
And that
a
is
win against the North Queensland
Queensland
Cowboys. 42 points to 6 points, and what a win it was.
What
a comprehensive win it was.
How'd it go for you? What went right for you, Liam?
Plenty of things went right. Look, we started out strongly with the back three making metres out of yardage, and they did so all game. All the back three ran for 100 metres plus with 209 for SKD. Pearson KP's
Gee, that's
first,
good.
that's
209,
very good. 209 metres for Sean Kenny Dow. Pearson KP's first tries came from exploiting the Cowboys behind the ruck, where we had a lot of success, especially with Connor Watson running through the back of the ruck into some tired forwards and some lazy marker defence.
Finds holes, doesn't he?
He finds some holes. I'll cover Connor Watson more in what went wrong, but that's a very short list tonight. The defence was strong. The Cowboys actually had plenty of sets in our defending area, inside our defensive 20. And to be fair, they didn't throw much at us. They've just got a very boring style of play with a few hit-ups and then some very predictable block plays. But still, the Knights managed to repel them pretty much, except for one try
through the middle, yeah.
There were a few lucky bounces, though, where the Knights got away with murder, absolute murder. But we led the line breaks 10-2, 35 tackle breaks to 2. We outran the Cowboys 1,818 metres to 1,366. And Pearson Leno, they really took the Cowboys back three out of the equation by kicking for the sidelines. It was an interesting performance. I didn't think it was a really good team win, because a lot of the tries came down to some individual brilliance and just a couple of people doing the right thing at the right time.
Yep.
But it was a win that you can't take too much out of because the Cowboys were just woeful. They were absolutely woeful.
Do you think the players got a bit of a whiff of something in the air? Not like a Jason Taylor whiff where your face changes, but where you think there might be a bit of a change in administration, and suddenly all these players that are on contracts, they think, look, I'm signed for this club for 3 years and I'm good mates with the coach, he likes me, and the coach is gone. Suddenly you're basically on the market.
You reckon they're
again.
playing for contracts?
Well,
okay,
that's
could
what
be
they're
the
doing.
case.
That's what they're doing.
Could well be the case. You
Could
want
this-
to impress the new coach coming in.
Could this be the masterstroke to get us in the finals for the first time? Sack the coach.
Sack the
Well, I
coach.
guess Gus already did that, didn't he?
Gus did that, and it didn't work out well for him. But hey, it might work up here.
Gus
You
has
never
been
know.
mentioned as well.
Oh, yes, Gus got mentioned. Andrew Johns got mentioned. He's not even a coach. Matthew Johns got
Danny
mentioned.
Badeiras.
Danny
Danny Badeiras
Badeiras.
came out and
These
said-
men aren't coaches.
He said, Danny Badeiras came out and said that I don't want the job about 6 months ago when the job wasn't available. So maybe, I don't know, he'll change
so
his
maybe
mind.
not. But
A lot of people.
there was a few things that went wrong, Nagy. I think Connor Watson really needs to work on his draw and pass.
It's been the problem for his whole career.
It has been. A few times he got into the backfield and ended up with a fullback to beat with a man on his outside, and he just didn't give the pass at the right time.
happened before,
There was
as well.
one forward pass to Mitchell Pearce.
But it was this game as well. He just dummied and went himself one up and got tackled. That's his best option.
Yeah.
If he makes 60 metres and dummies and goes himself,
just take the tackle, Connor. He's a good fan of the show. He listens to the show. Just take the tackle, bud.
Well, he came out and said when he talking to Barry, you know, fast feet, slow mind.
Fast feet, slow mind.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is good that he said it, because if I said it, it sound like I'm attacking him, and he could probably belt the shit out of me. So
Without
with
even
ease,
breaking a sweat.
with one arm.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll. No, never mind. Continue on.
Continue. There was still too many errors with 10. Better teams will punish us for that.
Yeah.
The Cowboys obviously didn't have anything to throw at us despite those errors. But, yeah, that was pretty much all that went wrong. There was a very little that went wrong in the game.
A little bit about Matt Scott recently today also came out around the same time as Brownie news. Suffered a stroke. He's
A bit of bad news for Matt Scott.
Minor stroke, but he's in Brisbane Hospital still.
Yeah, he's been one of the stalwarts of the game over the last decade, and one of the good guys as well. You know, he's never really had a stain against his name, and from all accounts, he's a fantastic fella. So you just got to hope and pray for the best for Matt Scott.
Yeah, I really don't like Queenslanders or people that play really well for Queensland, but I tell you what, he's just put in the hard yards. I always like those sort of players.
And
like
you don't want to see
Shane
that.
Lepke and things.
Let alone, you know.
Yeah, and it's probably going to be his last game. He's retiring at the end of the season, so I can't see him coming back, obviously, in the next 3 weeks after suffering a minor stroke. So, sad way to see a legend of the game go out, Matt Scott.
Yeah,
but,
absolutely.
On a lighter note, with the finals light dim in front of us, so we can almost make it.
We can, Nagy.
With
We
a few
can
other
almost
things.
make it.
Who's ahead of us, Liam?
Who's ahead of us? We got the West Tigers next week. Now, we're playing the Tigers Saturday 5:30 at Leichhardt Oval, I think.
We're down there. Oh, no, we're in Campbelltown.
Campbelltown.
Yeah. And what?
I thought I had a funny name for Campbelltown, but I just blanked on it entirely.
That's all right. It's a funny name in itself, Campbelltown.
Shambletown.
That's it.
There we go. Shambletown. We'll go with that.
We got there in the end.
Now, the Tigers have won their last 2 against the Knights.
Yes.
Including that 2-point victory a couple of weeks ago, which just dented
dirty.
my confidence. That, to me, was... I felt like that was the last straw for the season. If we didn't win that game, I thought, that's it, we're out. We can't make the finals, but we're still there. So
There's a big in for the Newcastle Knights this week.
there is indeed.
With the guy with possibly the greatest sportsman name ever. That
Isn't
reads
it fantastic?
Bradman Best.
Bradman the Best.
Yeah.
That's an easy nickname.
Yes,
You can just call him
It'd be simple, but it's such a Bradman's not typically a first name. It's typically known
It's
for
not.
a cricketer, but at the same time, Best. We've had Colin Best before, but his parents didn't really just go gun ho with the first name and name him after a Australian sporting legend.
Arguably our greatest sportsman ever.
I could only assume that he's going to continue the sporting prowess.
He bloody better.
There's that one of the under-18s New South Wales game that's getting a good showing on Facebook now of him running, half the length of the field and outpacing everyone. Everyone's very excited, but the man's only a boy.
He's just turned 18, I think, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
But the question is, though, who does he replace? Because Brownie's...
Came out today, Tautau Moga has got a calf strain. He'll be either shifting from Heimel Hunt into the centres and starting on the wing or starting in the centres.
I'd say you shift Heimel Hunt to the centre, start him on the wing.
We haven't seen a person that young play centre since Josh Hannay,
Wow, that's a good stat.
Yeah, well,
Very good stat.
Yeah,
I always liked Josh Hannah.
I believe he's the youngest person to play NRL.
Huh.
Oh, yeah. I think it was something stupid. It was like 16 and 300.
No, Jordan Rankin was the youngest person.
Oh, really?
To ever play.
They
Yeah,
took it?
16 and 300 and something days or
That's stupid. That's a stupid age, isn't it?
I know what I was doing at that age, and it's not appropriate to be doing on a football field. I'll tell you that much for free. Very inappropriate.
yeah. Before that was Freddie as well. All started in the centres at a very young age.
Huh.
But so centre seems to be the place that you birth these young.
It does indeed,
young
doesn't
players,
it?
But yeah.
Look, the Tigers have got one big in/out that we don't know about.
It's definitely an out.
And it's the Robbie Farah contingent.
He has a broken bone in his leg.
He has a broken bone in his leg, but he wants to play. It's the end of his career.
He's insane, though.
It is insane, but you know what? It's just insane enough that it might work, Nagy.
I can't see a doctor allowing him to play with a broken bone.
Oh, doctors, schmoctors.
We're in Shambletown.
We're in Shambletown. The man wants to play. Let the boy play. Trust me, it's only going to be good for the Knights if he plays with a broken leg. If we could be playing a team where everyone had a broken leg, that'd be great. So if we're playing a team where just one person has a broken leg, that's still pretty good.
Remember Cooper Cronk with his broken shoulder wins the grand final.
Oh, yeah, good point.
What I can only assume is that if they lose this, they'll bring him back for the next one. But it's in Camptown as well. I don't know. I don't know what the Tigers are going to do. They're probably in a bit of crisis.
I don't think the Tigers know what the Tigers are going to do. Their only other option at hooker is Elijah Taylor, who...
of course, they got...
he's a good effort... He's a good effort player. You know, he does a lot of hard work, but he's not a very creative hooker. He doesn't bring much in attack. He just gets the ball away, feeds his halves, and makes his tackles.
Maybe that's all he needs to do.
Which maybe that's all he needs to do.
Benji Marshall's coming towards the end of his career as well. I know he wants to play finals, so it's going to be interesting to see whether he steps up and has a real Benji game or rather just a bomb to the wing game that he seemed to really save up all those games for St George when he was playing with them. So I think he's going to come out and he did score that good try against us last time. I think he's going to be one to watch. They had that excellent sort of was it Faluma coming through with the Faluma when it was like the fake the long and go the short off the hip and he just runs straight through. That's a try that I've seen being scored against the Knights plenty of times. I can see that happening again. I'm really hoping that all the players really step up and get over the Tigers, because then over the hill the Tigers, Titans at home for Old Boys Day,
and then Panthers to make the 8 the last round. That'll be a doozy. That's a mouth-watering game.
Is it just me, or is your confidence been stamped out of you around this time of year as much as mine that I've got no faith?
You know what? I didn't have faith until like 2 days ago. I'd given up on the season. I was like, I can't do it. And then we did our sketch last week, our good humour comedy sketch. Don't forget to check them out on YouTube. We did our good humour comedy sketch about the mathematical chances. And that buoyed my spirits. I'm like, we've actually got a chance to do this. Yes, we need to win a lot of games. Yes, we need results to go our way. But it buoyed my confidence.
We better open your sack. Liam is getting late.
Oh, don't forget the news.
I thought we covered the news.
No, we only did Brownie. There's more in the news, Nag.
All right, let's open the news.
All right, next in the news. Congratulations to Josh King. Played his 50th game for the Knights on the weekend. I thought he had a good game as well.
Yeah.
Connor Watson is out. That's the other out we forgot to mention. Connor Watson is out.
We both got hooker problems. Hooker problems.
She was a hooker. Sweet cherry pie apple of her eye. She was a hooker. Yes, Connor Watson will spend a week on the sidelines with a minor MCL strain. That brings Danny Levi back into the squad.
Well, that's right. We've got another hooker waiting
We got another hooker waiting in the wings. But speaking of other hookers, poor Slade Griffin, he will not be returning to play for the Knights in 2019 and looks like he won't be playing for the Knights ever again.
Well, he hasn't been re-signed. He's been told by the club he's not going to be re-signed. He's had 4 major knee surgeries, 3 reconstructions. They've got a blanket rule now coming from Barry earlier this year saying, if a player has more than 2 knee reconstructions, they will not sign him. And
which is a very reasonable rule, but it's just a shame to see it happen to Slade Griffin.
I'm happy that Slade is getting back to a point where he could be playing again, but I'm not even sure if I want to see him out there, because if he blows a knee again... Do you remember what happened to the guy playing for the Swans? I don't know, the Peanut Gallery might know a little bit more. Josh and Sam, even Pom. No, Pom's... okay, no one watches that shit AFL game. But there was a fellow that blew his knee out. He played in the 2012 grand final and then blew his knee out again, and then came back and played for Newcastle this year, and then made his first grade.
Played for whom?
Newcastle is the New South Wales Cup.
Okay.
So and then came back through and then blew his knee out again, and suddenly the fairy tale turned into a nightmare again for this guy who's just gone through this horror run of like, maybe you shouldn't be playing sport at this level because you have to age with these joints and they're not going to be forgiving.
No.
So look, I want to see Slade do well. I even hope that he plays for another team and plays quite well, but at the same time, if he put on a Knights jersey again and blew his knee out the same way that he did, to see the devastation on a player's face is really hard to watch.
It is, and he was a monster for us when he was playing. When he did play, he was absolutely phenomenal.
It was crazy.
Effort player, he did everything you'd want to do. He was everything your teammates wanted to play with. So it's a damn shame for Slade, and we wish him all the best. And if he does go to another club, I'd love to see him succeed. The NRL Nines competition will return to Perth for pre-season 2020.
Auckland Nines no longer.
Auckland Nines no longer. They've gone about as far away from Auckland as you could get. They're going to Perth in 2020.
Cape Town was busy, so they...
I look forward to seeing the Nines again. It's a good bit of fun. It's a nice way to ease into the footy. You don't have to commit to a full game. You can just turn it on, have it running in the background. It's kind of like one-day cricket.
Yeah.
or T20 cricket. You turn it on, you just have it running in the background, and you kind of ease your way back into the footy. I think that's a great thing that it's coming back. Speaking of moving games, Adelaide will host the opening State of Origin game for 2020.
Again.
And then it'll be Adelaide, then Sydney, then Brisbane, I believe.
I guess it's fair that way.
It's fair that way.
We've won a couple now. We don't have to care that much.
That's it. We don't have to worry about Origin anymore. But you know I'll still worry,
Don't.
Nagy.
Kevy's still steering the ship over there. He'll run ashore, no doubt.
Well, you never know. Kevy might be up here. And the last item in the news, Cam Smith's wife, Barbara, has been gifted a diamond ring by NRL CEO Todd Greenberg. Now, I've seen differing numbers on this. I've heard
15,000.
anywhere between 5,000 and 15,000. Do you know what Barb did for the NRL?
Enlighten me, Liam.
No, I don't know. I was hoping you might know. Because to get a diamond ring of that worth,
Yeah.
surely you have to have done something besides dating
Cameron Smith.
Cameron Smith. Well, dating. They've been married for a decade.
I suppose they've been married for a while. But again, it's a strange gesture to give to a player.
It's a very
player's
strange
wife.
gesture.
Maybe Todd's having a crack. I don't know. Like,
Do you think it was like an engagement ring, perhaps?
Maybe it was misconstrued. Maybe it was like, will you? And then Cameron walks in and he goes, take the ring for being Cameron's wife.
I think that's the most logical and reasonable explanation. Yes, Nagy.
It's the only possibility.
Well, that's it for the news.
Time to open your sack, Liam.
Time to open the sack. Now, first question for the sack. The Knighted. Great. By the way, thank you to the Knighted and Lincoln over there for doing up our cover photo. It looks fantastic. It hadn't been touched in a while.
Yeah, it's been
thank you very much, the Knighted.
Thank you.
The Knighted asked, boys, what is your favourite and least favourite Knights jersey design we've had?
Look, favourite is got to be the one that I'm wearing. That's why I bought it. It's it's classic. Least favourite has to be the away jersey, probably
05, the red one.
The
red one with the little blue bits, and oh my god,
It was nice to see Joey wear that back.
Wasn't that the jersey where Joey
broke his jaw?
broke his jaw? Yeah, that was that. He was wearing that at the time. So we all hate that jersey.
That was at home. That was at home.
I was at home.
Yeah.
Okay, might have been, but it was that season that we had that
05.
disgusting red jersey, red shorts. Oh, it was terrible.
But Josh Spiegelman, the Hebrew Hammer, has also said that a lot of the times that we wear a lot of white, we don't win games.
That's a good point. Spiegelman hates the white away jerseys.
Yeah, the opposite one to that was pretty bad.
I personally, my favourite is just, again, agreeing with Nagy, this classic bars on bars, blue and red.
Yeah.
It's just gorgeous. It's stunning. It's simple.
Yeah.
It's just perfection.
All right.
So that's my favourite. But yeah, least favourite is that red monstrosity from, I think, 05.
Yeah, Colin Allied.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
Now, Katrina O'Brien asked, the Sharks unfortunately beat the Dragons in one of the worst games of the year, I'll add to that, which makes the Knights' chances of playing finals footy even slimmer. Katrina's wondering, what are our views on this season? She believes if we don't play finals football, it's a massive fail.
It is.
Interested in our thoughts.
It is.
I think I agree with Katrina. If we don't play finals football, it is a massive fail. With the squad that we've got, we should be a shoo-in for the finals.
Fairy tale now. Like, if we make it, it's like, oh my god, we look at our run, but it's like we should have been there.
We should have been there.
It's a couple of games this year we should have won.
And maybe that's the reason why no Brownie.
Possibly.
No
Probably
bueno.
exactly the reason. why
Yeah,
it's no Brownie.
so, I'm like I said, I'm a bit more buoyant about the chances of the Knights playing in the finals,
And,
but
more buoyant in general.
just in general,
Just
yes.
in general.
But yeah, I think if we don't play finals, we agree, Katrina, it's going to be a massive fail. Daniel Turner, out of our last 3 games, how many do you realistically see us winning? Realistically.
I've spoken to you about this earlier today.
We did.
I think we're going to get over the Tigers. Mm-hmm. We'll trounce the Titans in Old Boys Day.
Titans have given up.
And then
season's over.
We'll go to the Panthers, and it'll be all on the line, and we won't win it.
You won't win them against the Panthers.
They're too better of a side.
I think I got to agree with that. They are, although they're going through a few injury troubles at the moment, they're blooding some youngsters, which the Penrith do every year. They seem to be having a constant just turnover of these young next big things. So they've got a few more next big things now. This young bloke, Matt Burton, apparently is pretty red hot. But I can honestly see the Knights winning that one. So controversial, Daniel, but I'm going 3 for 3.
3 for 3.
3
for 3 for me. 3 for 3.
Yeah. Next question, Josh Herbert. Do you think the NRL could have picked the last game of the regular season? Could be the game that decides 8th spot. Knights v Panthers, 4 p.m. Sunday. Television game.
If you remember back to 2015, it was Knights v Panthers to who was going to get the spoon.
The Spoon Bowl.
Spoon Bowl.
Now we're in the 8 Bowl.
And they put us so far down that they beat us like 40-12.
8 Bowl. We're in the 8 Bowl.
Sounds
That's
like,
a drug thing,
sounds
Nagy.
like cocaine, yeah.
It does.
So,
Not that we know about that. We are good Christian boys on this podcast. We don't do such things. But yeah, look, it's the ultimate fairy tale, or the perfect conclusion to the NRL season, seeing who's going to get that number 8 spot.
Look, if we come in with 2 games win, I can see us maybe doing it out of momentum and maybe to see Brownie off. But it's such a weird thing to have the coach that being sacked go into the final series.
It is a strange thing. Now, Joel Southgate, last question. Thank you again for all your input in the sack there, guys. Joel's going a bit long-term here, and I think Joel posted this before the Brown news came out. With season nearly done, where do you see the Knights going forward over the next 5 to 10 years? I can't see where I'm going in the next 5 to 10 minutes. Sorry, Joel, so I'm no good on this one. Nagy, got any thoughts?
There's you could see with the way that Nathan Pearce, oh god, the way that Pearce and Ponga and Clemmer have been playing semi-consistently right through the whole season. Again, as I said before, they're the ones that hang on to. You build a side around those players, and you have the players like Fitzgibbon, like Dan Safidi, make up the extra numbers, and then you just add-ons. You fill gaps. At the moment, it seems to be in a back line.
That's it. We got a good core. There's that really good core
That's
of players.
the difference between now and 2015.
Besides Mitchell Pearce, that core of players aren't too old. David Clemmer's only 25. Ponga's only 21. Who else is in
Pearce
the core?
is 30, but you could probably play his
He's got
position
3 or
till
4
30.
years.
Yeah.
Daniel
Yeah,
Safidi,
probably 2, yeah.
21 as well.
Yeah.
Lachlan Fitzgibbon, 22 maybe.
24, I think. Yeah.
24. So still that core group is still
young.
very young.
Yeah.
So the next
Sione,
5 to 10 years, Sione, next 5 to 10. Oh, we forgot to do hats off.
Oh, Christ.
Oh, Nagy. Anyway,
they've-
to round it out, hats off. Mitchell Pearce got 58% of the vote. Sione got 42%. It was great to see Sione have a good game. But, that's all.
Yeah, and the lower grades.
And the lower grades. Now, I spent extra time doing this week, so I didn't miff it all up like I did last week.
Call in when he's going to
Yeah,
get it right.
Barry gave me a call and he made sure I got it right. So Canterbury Cup last week suffered a loss against Mounties, 36-14. Their next game will be at home out at Maitland there, at Maitland Showground, where we had such a wonderful time in the preseason against the Rabbitohs.
Full of hope.
And Jersey Flag won their last game against the Bears, 24 points to 10, and they will also be playing the Rabbitohs out at Maitland there, I believe, on Sunday.
Can't wait for all of that to happen.
Absolutely.
Where are you going to watch the game, Liam?
The Commonwealth Hotel.
Oh,
Where else?
guess I'll see you there.
Keep forgetting my beer's empty. Sorry, Nagy.
Keep picking up the cold glass.
Yeah.
It's just that what the Murray's 262 does. You want to keep grabbing it and touching it. Mm-hmm. If you like us, please like us on Facebook, YouTube, SoundCloud, Twitter, Instagram, and
YouTube.
No, I've said that. No, I said it all. All of those social pipes. Thank you very much for joining me once again, Liam. It's been an absolute pleasure. Go you Mighty Knights. Let's make it happen for one final year for Brownie. See you guys.